I want the audience to remain engaged, as curious as they've ever been. You know, I want our audience to get out of these next several initiatives the fact that your theater, your SCR will not stop innovating, and we will not stop trying to push vision together to bring you the best quality and the most important stories of our time, from extant plays to new plays to, as I said, reaching kids. I think, at least I can speak for myself. I can't speak for anyone else, so I won't. But I am so hungry to gather again, you know? And so I'm hopeful that this arc ramps up to Outside SCR, which is the last component, where people feel like they followed this mini season in order then to come back together and experience the joy of being live together. And I hope, even in its kind of truncated breadth, our audiences will get to peek into those touchstones of South Coast Rep and say, oh my gosh, even in that, yeah, we got a huge arc of experiences. Hi, my name is David Ivers. I'm the artistic director of South Coast Repertory. And if you want to know more about us and more about our offerings for the season and beyond, check out this video. It's a unique theater in a lot of ways. I mean, first of all, it grew up with Orange County, right? It didn't plop in. This is one of the things I actually love about SCR. It didn't, like, Orange County didn't boom and then you had a regional theater. It sort of became, it was part of the fabric of its growth. You know, it didn't start where it is now. It just, the vision of David and Martin, you know, and Paula and others, they were on it, you know, and they were committed to having this thing grow at the same time Orange County was. And I think that's luck. It's also hard work, but it makes it unique. You know, the breadth and scale of programming is another thing, right? And the sense of family, I think, is another thing. And frankly, the commitment to its potency and its ability to, like, transform lives, all lives, and particularly now, you know, where we want to head, embracing all of community, and that those things, I think, make it, along with other things, our conservatory and all the ways in which we try to be relevant to where we live. Those things make us, I think, unique and special. We're doing this spring summer season because of obvious reasons, and we felt very strongly about positioning it, and that we could pioneer maybe some efforts, and so far so good. It's largely digital, as most of you know. Basically, I try to distill down what is the essence of the touchstones of SCR, and what is the vision of the future. That's important to me, that I said I would try to do. Well, what I said I would try to do is get more butts and seats, reach into community, make sure that we continually have a programming that reflects where we live, who we are, and also continues to be vigorous about the development of new work, now new musicals, while all the same time, like, making sure we cradle our legacy, you know, so we don't leave people behind, but we also pick up people. And so what does that mean? Well, it means world premieres, it means theater for a young audience, it means classics, you know, and it means now deep commitment in some ways to how we innovate for community and engagement. And so basically I kind of said, okay, well, if what we did before COVID was 7-Up, how do we now do Perrier with lemon or lime? You know, like, we get the essence of with you know, because we can't do 13 plays, we can't add all the sugar that makes someone feel great. And so basically I started looking at that and saying, okay, well, let's film a TYA. Let's make sure the touchstone of Pacific Play Arts Festival is there. And then let's drive ourselves through vision for what is safe for our audience and our artists, and also allows us to do the most important thing, which is gather, right? And so what we ended up with is this wonderful adaptation by Alison Gregory of Red Riding Hood, with 2 actors telling the entire story, which we filmed, I think, in a very innovative, very expensive, but also really powerful way, using a full production company, 3 to 4 cameras, you know, on a set in the Segerstrom so that you would never forget that we're a theater that thrives on the live, you know. And the great news is that program, the Theater for Young Audience in the Arduous Theater, there's 3 productions a year pre-COVID. It serves about 9,000 students. We're over 11,000 with one virtual opportunity with Red Riding Hood. So right there is the power of this moment. It also speaks to what we were concerned about, which is what's happening in the schools. These teachers need product. We can do it. Let's do it. And so I'm very excited by the results of that. And then we decided to apply the same thinking to Pacific Playwrights Festival. And I said, we have to do Pacific Playwrights Festival. I don't have an appetite for Zoom readings anymore. So I want to use the same innovation of this production company and do a Wine of the Month club, but with world premiere plays. And we'll roll out, if you subscribe to PPF, you'll get 4 plays and a new musical coming into your inbox basically every 3 weeks or so once we launch the first one. We're 2 in now. We're about to release the second one next week. Covenant has played by York Walker. And basically there's 4 plays in a musical, as I said, that I think represent a global perspective. They're astonishingly beautiful plays, challenging plays, reflective of, I think, not only the triumphant spirit of who we are, but the indelible challenges that this country and other countries present in how we view our citizenry. The artists have been connected to them. York Walker, who wrote Covenant, Charlie O, who wrote Coleman 72, Cheyenne Lotfi, who wrote Park Ilale, Christine Quintana, who wrote Clean, and Julianne Wick Davis and Dan Collins, who wrote the musical Harold and Lillian, A Love Story, are exceptional, up and coming or established. I think the power of what we've been able to do there, I hope, as we get through them, is also evident in the artists who have come forward to say, I want to be a part of it. All these directors deserve, Tamala Woodard, I will say, with the present company excluded, are nationally, if not internationally known. Lisa Portez, Mike Donahue, and the fact that we have Michael Greif coming in to direct the last PPF musical, who's, as you know, won Tonys for creating Dear Evan Hansen and Next to Normal. I was just like amazing. I think speaks to us putting our money where our mouth is, you know, and being here. And then the last thing, as I think people know, is it created a partnership with the Mission San Juan Capistrano to do the last thing I spoke of, which is to gather safely. So we're going to be outside in the summer with a new program called Outside SCR. I said to the board, here's the deal. If we fail, we'll fail gloriously and everyone will understand why we tried it. But my greatest hope is that it stands a chance to become tradition. And that's where we're heading. We're bringing back Jose Cruz Gonzalez's American Mariachi, which was what I launched my first season with at SCR for 6 performances in rep. So changing night after night with You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. And those 2 shows particularly were chosen because I felt strongly about having, 1, an entry point ticket that is not astronomical, and 2, that floating families to be able to come back and do something together around the theater. You know, I lovingly refer to it as sort of like Chardonnay theater, you know, but there's no sin in that for me. I mean, the idea that we're going to dip our toe back into gathering. These are stories that are timeless and wonderful and also allow multi-generational kind of experience together. And that feels appropriate for Outdoor Under the Stars in the summer. You know, we've never really produced in the summer other than our conservatory. There's been the odd thing here and there outdoors, but this is a huge endeavor. We're literally building a theater out in the Mission, and it's glorious, and putting us all as a staff on the same page to create something that we've never done before. And that, as a new artistic leader, is exactly what I was looking for, is to say, okay, there's deep, great history here between a lot of you, and we've done things in a certain way. How can we look together internally? What can I create or help create that puts us all on equal footing to experiencing each other as a staff? That has happened. The staff has been extraordinary on all of this. And for me, it's brought me closer to the artistic staff in ways I hadn't anticipated. And that is one of the blessings of COVID and one of the blessings of us having to really deep dive in how we innovate. More than perhaps you wanted to know, but that's kind of the arc of what we're doing and how it's affected SCR at the moment. SCR is important for many reasons we've already covered, I think, but it's also, it's a cultural hub, of Orange County in many ways. In part, our job is to transport people, is literally to tell timeless stories, or the stories of our age, and to embrace who we are as a citizenry, right? And to celebrate that in a triumphant way, even in our challenges, right? So there's not a lot of organizations that have that mission, right? Not only to entertain, but to enrich, to nourish, right? To reach out, to embed themselves in community. And for all those reasons, we need the support of the community. I've talked a lot since I got here about our job also is to partner with the community, not always to have a handout. I don't think we always do have a handout, but also to say, how can we help, right? How can we put resources into your organization or into the community, because we're a business in this community. And so I feel like we need, of course, support because we're a not-for-profit, and ticket sales make up for a small portion of our overall operating budget. And everybody needs help right now because of this pandemic. I also think, the support we get is astonishing. We can always use more, because I believe that the arts are vital to a whole life, to being whole, to having that experience in your life, whether you're a scientist, particularly if you're a scientist, or an accountant, that the way art and theater allows one to scrutinize, to imagine, and to emotionally, in positive ways, embrace the whole of who we are, informs every part of the individual. And so it's a scope, it's an answer of scope, I realize, but the work to me is that kind of large. Hey, thank you. If you enjoyed this, head on over to South Coast Repertory's website. There's all sorts of information on how to get tickets, how you can help, and we'll look forward to seeing you at the theater.